Good afternoon. My name is Kimberly Pryor, and I'm with the Virginia Department of Transportation. Thank you for attending the Northern Virginia Virtual Spring Meeting this evening. We will start out with brief remarks by the Secretary and others, followed by a public comment period. With that, I'll turn it over to Secretary Valentine for introductions and comments.
Thank you, Kim Pryor, and thank you for organizing all of these virtual meetings all across the Commonwealth. And while sometimes the logistics seem like it's easier virtually, there's been a tremendous amount of coordination. So thank you to you and Roni Day, Amy White, and all of you who helped put this together. And a huge shout out to Carol Mathis for helping me a lot today as well. We also have a great IT team with Jen and Justin and Michael, and I thank you all for helping us do this. We are so happy to be here at this Northern Virginia virtual meeting. I will tell you, and I share this with all my colleagues, we wish so much that we could be with you in person. There really is nothing like having the relationships and the camaraderie of working on all of these issues and projects together. So hopefully in the fall meetings, we will all be together. That's our expectation. So, but thank you really for your time and attention this evening. It's been quite a remarkable year, and I just want to assure you that through it all, the health and safety of our employees and our customers and our partners have been our top priority. We've made a commitment across the entire Secretariat, all working together from the Port of Virginia, trucking, rail, transit, barges, all of us working together to make sure we are transporting critical goods and connecting people to essential work, food, medicine, and now vaccines. As we have made that commitment, we are also managing the financial uncertainty and the financial implications of living through a pandemic. And right now, it looks like the transportation revenues in Virginia are going to be down about $638 million through FY22, which is significant. But I will say that we in Virginia have been able to manage those reductions in a very smart and responsible way, really based on two important decisions that were made in 2020. The first was the passage of the governor's omnibus transportation package that restructured transportation funding, tied it to CPI. We created the governance structure for passenger rail in Virginia, and we made a financial commitment to all modes of transportation in the Commonwealth. And that decision has allowed us to stabilize all modes of transport in Virginia and has really positioned us well. The second major decision that happened in 2020 was during the special session that was held. Working with the governor and the General Assembly, the Commonwealth Transportation Board was granted budget flexibility in order to put every dollar we have to work today. Those projects in a 6-year improvement program that received funding in the early years that did not require those funds until the later years in the 6-year program, we were able to use those funds and restore them within the 6-year window. And as a result, all projects remain in the pipeline on time and according to their own schedule, on budget and according to their own schedules. We did not have to cancel any contracts or delay any projects or lay off any workers. And that to me is the smartest decision transportation could make in order to support Virginia's economic recovery and growth. With those decisions, we now bring to you tonight a 6-year improvement update. In that update, there are 3,900 projects across Transportation Secretariat totaling $21.4 billion FY22 through FY27. It is a major commitment to infrastructure in our Commonwealth. And tonight I am going to be joined by some key leaders in helping to bring that update to you. We have Commissioner Britt. He is going to be bringing you some safety updates and highway improvements over the 6-year improvement plan. Director Mitchell, Director the Department of Rail and Public Transportation, will be bringing updates on transit and rail and giving a brief overview over our transforming rail in Virginia, which is really, really important to Northern Virginia, as well as the rest of our Commonwealth. We are also joined by our acting district engineer this evening, John Lynch, who I happen to have a little townhome in Charlottesville right now, as my husband's teaching in Virginia. So John, I know everybody down here in the Culpeper District misses you, but you are on assignment up in Northern Virginia. And we have CTV member Mary Hines, who is your district representative, one of the best CTV members I've ever worked with, joined by another great member of the CTV, Scott Kaspowitz, who is our CTV at large for our urban areas. And Scott is listening as well this evening. So I thank you all for being here. And with that, Commissioner Britt, I am going to turn it over to you.
Madam Secretary, thank you very much for the introduction. I echo your comments this evening. I certainly wish that we could be there in person, but in any event, I welcome the opportunity to speak here tonight and solicit your feedback on the 6-year improvement program. I do have a couple of items that I will give a highlight over, one of which is, of course, our safety initiatives out there. And the sheer recognition that April was the Highway Safety Month here in Virginia, as designated by Governor Norton. VDOT, during the entire month of April, we partnered with our sister agencies to heighten the importance of highway safety. And those agencies include the Virginia State Police, Department of Motor Vehicles, Department of Health, as well as Department of Education. And last week, you may have seen a number of messages on our variable message signs that were out there, and that was to observe National Work Zone Awareness Week. And this year's theme has been Drive Safe, Work Safe, and Save Lives. And really, that theme has been focused on the need for everyone to play their part in keeping our highway work zones safe, whether it be our workers or our motorists. And with that being said, we do have a lot of orange barrels and cones out there, so I want to remind everyone to be alert and expect the unexpected. I do want to touch base a little bit on where the agency's response to COVID-19 has been. As we all know, this past year has been a challenge for all of us. The pandemic has required an unprecedented need for flexibility and adaptability. And I'm happy to report that the department staff has conquered that extremely well. Our primary focus on the onset of the pandemic was to protect our employees. We needed to make sure that our workforce remained safe. In saying that, we had to adjust immediately to that new operating environment. From our field crews who had to learn how to social distance, to our office staff that needed to embrace teleworking. I'd say that even with a global pandemic, VDOT has continued to deliver our services unencumbered. The department has continued to hold virtual public hearings, such as this one, which has allowed us to engage our public and our stakeholders. More importantly, we've also been able to advertise our projects and award our projects on time and on budget. We've also been able to hire our consultants and contractors to be able to deliver our 6-year improvement program. I'd like to say that the staff at VDOT has continued to keep their foot on the gas pedal, keeping those projects on time and on budget as we promised. Part of tonight's, or the main reason for tonight's virtual hearing, is to solicit your input back on the 6-year improvement program. My part that I'll cover has to deal with the highway construction portion of the program, which is valued at $15.7 billion over the next 6 years. The program provides funding, as the Secretary said, for more than 3,900 projects. And more importantly, it includes nearly $4.1 billion in funding that's provided by others. That includes funding from the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority, the Hampton Roads Transportation Accountability Commission, the Central Virginia Transportation Authority, as well as our public-private partnerships that we have. This 6-year improvement program also fully implements the new transportation funding formula that has been approved in 2020 by the governor and the General Assembly. I should note that several funding programs have been updated in this update to the 6-year plan, and that includes the State of Good Repair paving program, the State of Good Repair for bridges, unpaved roads, our Innovation in Technology Transportation Fund, and Smart Scale. We've also worked with our regional planning partners to update the Regional Surface Transportation Program and our congestion mitigation and air quality programs. I'm happy to announce that we do have 2 new programs here that are in the 6-year program this year as a result of the legislation, and that includes the Interstate Operations and Enhancement Program and the Virginia Highway Safety Improvement Program. These new projects in each of these funding programs can be viewed at the 6-year meeting website that's shown here on the slides. And I encourage you to visit the website and give us your feedback on the contents of it. And with that, Madam Secretary, that concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Britt. Director Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Secretary Valentine. And like you and Commissioner Britch, I wish we could be there in person today, but look forward to hearing feedback and comments from our Northern Virginians as well. So a little bit about this DRPT 6-year plan. This year we're allocating over $1 billion in federal, state, and local funds through our 6-year plan. That includes $756 million for public transportation and $266 million for rail. Our Transforming Rail in Virginia initiative is our partnership with CSX, Amtrak, and VRE to double state-supported service across the state. That includes the acquisition of 384 miles of CSX right-of-way and 223 miles of track in corridors that parallel I-95, I-64, and I-85. We'll also be building 37 miles of new track and a new 2-track bridge between Arlington and DC called the Long Bridge, which is currently one of the biggest rail bottlenecks on the entire East Coast. We'll be expanding VRE service on both the Manassas line and subject to an agreement with Norfolk Southern, and also on the Fredericksburg line as well, including new late night and weekend commuter rail service overall. To oversee and manage these projects, we've established a new Virginia Passenger Rail Authority with a new executive director, and we are getting that organization mobilized over the next year. Switching gears to our transit program, this year we received more requests than we have received for funding in quite a while. We had requests for $216 million for 592 projects. We are going to be prioritizing state of good repair and minor enhancement, which is consistent with the CTB's policy towards prioritization for transit capital funds. We will not be funding any major expansion projects through our transit capital funds this year. We'll be funding a total of 436 projects for state of good repair and minor enhancement across the state. We'll also be providing $7.8 million in VW Trust mitigation funding. It's a partnership with the Department of the Environmental Quality for 19 electric buses across the state. And that includes the Fairfax County Connector, as well as Valley Metro in Roanoke and Blacksburg Transit. We were providing additional operating funding. This was an unprecedented year for all transit agencies with the COVID pandemic and losses in ridership and revenues as a result. We will be providing an increase in operating funding for all agencies, and those funds are allocated based on a formula that includes performance metrics. So in the Northern Virginia District, we'll be providing $748 million in federal, state, and local funding. That includes funding for WMATA. Our operating and capital portion for WMATA is $177 million. We also provide $50 million in what's called a PREA match and $154 million in dedicated funds, along with our partners in DC and Maryland. So we'll be providing operating and capital funding to a number of operators in Northern Virginia, including Loudoun County Transit, Arlington Transit, Alexandria Dash System, Fairfax Q, the Fairfax Connector, Virginia Railway Express, PRTC, and OmniRide, and then also commuter assistance programs for Go Alex, Data, Fairfax County Commuter Services, Loudoun County Commuter Services, and OmniRide Rideshare. On our statewide rail planning, we will also be doing future service delivery planning, updating our FY 22 to 26 statewide rail plan, doing a study of the Commonwealth Corridor, which is an east-west passenger rail corridor across the state, and additional station improvement planning as well. So with that, Secretary Valentine, I'll turn it back over to you. Thanks.
Thank you. And our CTV member, Mary Hines, welcome. Thank you for having us.
This is a very different kind of hosting. I would say that, Madam Secretary, but I agree with you that it would be lovely to be in a room with everybody and to see people's faces and have those casual conversations. So we'll look forward to doing that hopefully in the fall. As most listeners know, to this particular meeting, our district serves 4 counties, including 3 of the largest in the state, with support to 5 cities and 14 towns. And while we only cover about 4% of the state's land area, we are home to a quarter of the state's population with more than 2 million residents. So we are writ large in many ways, even though we're kind of geographically small. In the SIP, there are just a couple of things beyond smart scale that I think are worth saying so that people hear them. And one of them is that more than 96 million will be allocated to bridge and paving projects through the state of good repair up here in NoVA. Paving is a big, important issue for us, and bridge repair too. So there about 5.3 million in new funding will address deficient VDOT and locality maintained pavements, and another 28 million in new funding is being provided to address 2 structurally deficient bridges in Fairfax and Arlington, Old Glebe Road over North Glebe Road in Arlington, and Old Colchester Road over Pohick Creek in Norton. So those are, the rest of our usual and customary funding will happen. And so I want to turn to the big item of interest for tonight, if you will, which is smart scale. Over the 6-year plan, there are more than 748 million is dedicated to NoVA projects through smart scale, which does include the money that is recommended for funding in round 4. In round 4 of smart scale, 30 Northern Virginia projects were submitted. And 11 of them are recommended in the staff recommendation. So hold that number in your head a little bit. The projects total in Northern Virginia about 221 million, which is approximately 20% of the regular smart scale funding available across the whole Commonwealth. It's important to thank our local and regional government partners for their work during the application process. We had a lot of strong applications, and the data that supports them is really clear and helpful. In NoVA, the distribution of the applications by principal improvement type we had 4 bike ped projects, 23 highway projects, and 3 bus transit projects. And there's 1 rail project which is going to affect multiple districts, including ours. So 31 things that are important to us are actually recommended for funding. So as I said, we had 11 projects recommended in the staff scenario. On April 27th, the City Council of Alexandria resolved to withdraw one of their smart scale applications for the Upper King Street multimodal reconstruction project. So that withdrawal is creating an opportunity to reprogram approximately $36.7 million that was associated with that program. And that's kind of unusual. That doesn't happen every time. So I wanted to just share with listeners today that it's my intention to try to find a way to fund the Braddock Road Multimodal Improvement Project, which was submitted by Fairfax which is the next project in NoVA's ranking. And I want people to hear that because there's another project further down the list that also has Braddock Road in it. And that is not the one we're talking about. It's the multimodal improvements. So we would use the funds that are available from from Alexandria, along with a portion of the funds from some previously canceled projects. And we're going to need to work with Fairfax and our district to figure out how to accomplish this, but that is my intention moving forward. So for those who are wondering, like, how long will this take? That we can make changes to the staff recommendation through the May CTB meeting. And so you should expect to see, if we're successful, that project show up at our May action. And then we would approve the round 4 projects and all the rest of the 6-year plan at the CTB meeting in June. So that's kind of the roadmap, if you will, to how we go from here and to an updated 6-year plan. And Madam Secretary, I turn it back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. I will say that as you were speaking about paving and the importance of paving in Northern Virginia, Commissioner Britch's head was like this, not even aware of that he was probably doing that. Very, very important. So thank you. And you do highlight the importance of people participating in this forum and letting us know either tonight or through any vehicle that Kim Pryor will let you know. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our district engineer serving up in Northern Virginia right now, John Lynch.
Well, welcome to the Northern Virginia District. Thanks for joining us this evening. And as acting district engineer in Northern Virginia, as the secretary said, on loan from the Culpeper District, I'm more than happy to return here to help move these projects forward, setting up for the new leadership who will be joining us here in the near future. I look forward to seeing some familiar faces and meeting with new folks this evening as well. The district team is 863 employees strong, and we serve 4 counties, 5 cities, and 14 towns. Within these counties, VDOT's responsible for 803 miles of interstate, 1,690 miles of primary roads, and 11,481 miles of secondary roads. You know, in the past year, a number of important projects have been completed. A few of these include the Jones Branch Connector, AKA Scott's Crossing Road. This is a new roadway over I-495 that added multimodal connections to the McLean Metro Station, bicycle improvements and access across the Beltway, and connection to the 495 express lanes. In addition, this did win a national award for engineering excellence that we were notified about last week. The Route 1 widening project was also completed over the past year. We were excited to join Prince William County for the belated social distance ribbon cutting last month. The widening to 6 lanes between Mary's Way and Annapolis Way was completed late last year, which included a share use path, sidewalk, and a new bridge over Marumsco Creek. Lynch Street Esplanade and Custis Trail improvements in Arlington County made major bike and pedestrian and intersection improvements and incorporated the Quarter of Light public art by the county. We're also pleased to share that for the fiscal year ending June 30th of this year, we project completing 97% of our VDOT administered projects on time and 90% on budget. So as the commissioner related to, the pandemic really hasn't stopped us in delivering our projects on time and on budget. Some of our major project highlights on the 495 express lanes, the Norton extension, or 495 next. The environmental study is anticipated to be completed in May 2021. So this month, we continue to work to finalize agreements with Capital Beltway Express and expect final agreements by the end of the year. We continue to coordinate with Maryland as they advance their traffic relief program that would bring managed lanes to the Beltway at the American Legion Bridge and north to I-270. The Secretary Valentine has committed $5.2 million initial capital investment in transit, followed by $2.2 million in annual transit investment. So on the current schedule, the project is anticipated to be complete in 2025. We're also completing a feasibility study for multimodal improvements along Route 1 in Crystal City, and we're planning a third public information meeting in mid-June. A few highlights of smart scale projects in design are the interchange at Fairfax County Parkway and Pope's Head Road, as well as Route 29 widening from Union Mill to Buckley's Gate. We're in the process of widening Route 7 miles of Route 7 from Tyson's Corner to Reston with a shared use path that'll have a pedestrian tunnel at Colvin Mill and a new bridge over Difficult Run. At Route 7 and Battlefield Parkway in Leesburg, we're also looking forward to opening a new interchange with the town, Loudoun County, and MVTA later this year. Nearing completion are the improvements for I-66 inside the Beltway to include a third new eastbound lane from the Dulles Connector Road to Fairfax Drive, a new bicycle and pedestrian roundabout on the Custis Trail, and we recently celebrated the new W&OD Trail Bridge over Route 28 with our partners in Arlington, 29, I'm sorry, with our partners in Arlington and Nova Parks. In our mega projects program, I-66 express lanes outside the Beltway are on schedule for tolling in December of 2022 and final completion in 2023. A major milestone was the removal of traffic signals on Route 28. So construction continues along the entire 22.5-mile long corridor with approximately 1,700 workers on the job at any given day. We also have an enormous locally administered project program across our counties, cities, and towns with 23 projects under construction and 28 projects in planning and design just for this fiscal year. You know, our staff works closely with our local partners to ensure the projects are developed and delivered on time and on budget. In our maintenance program, our maintenance teams continue to keep the different district's infrastructure in good repair across more than 14,000 lane miles, 2,200 bridges and culverts, and many other of our infrastructure assets. We have several major bridge rehab projects to note. Route 123 over Route 7 was completed late last year. King Street over I-395 in Alexandria, North Glebe Road over Pimmet Run in Arlington, and Route 7 over Sugarland Run in Fairfax County, in addition to the historic 1889 John G. Lewis Memorial Bridge in western Loudoun County are all under construction. Beginning this summer, we will add the Duke Street over 395 in Alexandria and Hunter Mill Road over Colvin Run in Fairfax County to this list of projects that are under construction. We also continue to make major strides in our paving program, and this year the district's working on resurfacing 972 lane miles with a price tag of about $117 million. And then finally, Northern Virginia's district spring litter cleanup effort is ongoing with contracted service, state forces, and our Adopt a Highway volunteers. This spring, approximately 8,000 bags of litter have been collected so far, and with a cost of approximately $223,000. So that's all I have, Madam Secretary, and I'll turn it back to you.
I always want to say, is that all? Tremendous amount of work. For those of you with us tonight from Northern Virginia, I will say that we just left the Richmond district not long ago, but we really were commenting that, you know, just a tremendous amount of work and effort and investments taking place across Virginia at this point. So with that, Kim Pryor, I'm going to turn it over to you because we really do want to hear from the people in Northern Virginia and their thoughts, recommendations, and concerns for us.
Thank you. On the slide on the screen, you can see the multiple ways in which comments can be submitted. We'll be taking comments through May 17th. They can be submitted online, by email, or through regular mail. Tonight, comments will also be taken by phone. Next slide, please. If you call in to the number on the screen and dial the PIN, you'll be placed in a queue and called on to speak when it's your turn. I would like to ask for comments to be limited to 3 minutes. With that, I'll turn it over to our IT support team to begin calling on folks for comment.
Sure, thank you. We'll begin the public call queue with Kelly Burke. Again, remember to try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. And Kelly, if you would like to address the meeting, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. My name is Kelly Burke. I'm the mayor of the town of Leesburg. Good evening, Commonwealth Transportation Board and members of the Virginia Transportation Authority. I am speaking tonight to provide comments on behalf of the town of Leesburg regarding the FY 2022 to 2027 six-year improvement program. Thank you for offering the opportunity to provide comments remotely during your public hearing. On behalf of the Leesburg Town Council and the citizens we serve, we thank you for this opportunity to comment on the inclusion of finding Route 15, Leesburg Bypass, and Edwards Ferry Road Interchange project in the six-year improvement program. Leesburg sits at the intersection of two major commuter routes, Route 7, which runs east to west, and Route 15, which runs north to south. As a result, Route 15 bypass around Leesburg carries more than 48,000 vehicles per day, with serious congestion and delays during peak hours. In conjunction with our state and regional partners, the town has been working towards removing all grade intersections and light signals along the bypass. The proposed interchange at Route 15 and Edwards Ferry Road will remove not one, but two signalized lights and intersections at the intersection, thus providing significant traffic congestion relief. In addition, the proposed interchange provides pedestrian access across Route 15 bypass, linking commercial and residential areas of town. This is a very important component of this project. We are very appreciative of the $2 million in the past at MVTA funding for the interchange justification report, which has been completed and approved by BDOT, FHWA, and the Loudoun Town Council. The next step will be to design the right-of-way acquisition and the utility relocation estimated at $12 million. This amount is in the funding, and we need to keep this project moving forward. The total project costs, including constructions, are estimated at $183 million. The town will be working with federal, state, and regional partners to secure funding for this important project. Your support in this important regional congestion relief project is greatly appreciated. Thank you again for allowing me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mayor Burke. Thank you for being with us tonight.
My pleasure.
All right, next on the queue, Dan Helmer, if you'd like to address the meeting, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I wanted to thank the CTB and Secretary Valentine for just the incredible work that all of you do. It has been your professionalism and willingness to invest time and effort and professionalism in making sure that we can get Virginians on the move where they need to be and lessen the impact of traffic and pollution on our families is really outstanding. For my community, I noticed that there's two projects that we've talked about today that deeply impact us. One is the straightening of the S-curve at Braddock Road. We have heard a lot of feedback from our community that there are opportunities to do this project in a better and less impactful way. We were very encouraged that Smart Scale recognized, as we did, that this project as it was currently envisioned would not achieve the goals that we would like to see as a community and would have the impact of turning Braddock into a major thoroughfare, which is inconsistent with pushing folks towards other options, including mass transit that we've invested heavily here in Northern Virginia. Also have really encouraged that we are working on addressing the intersection at Pope's Head Road and the Fairfax County Parkway, which is not only a nuisance in terms of its impact on schedule, but is deadly. And as recently as the last year, we've continued to see accidents that cause deaths there. We continue to be saddened as a community that that project has been impacted by a desire to do an unrelated project on the Shirley Gate extension, and hope that we can work to reduce costs and redesign this project so that it immediately removes this deadly traffic light and does so without service to an unneeded external project unrelated to safety at the intersection of Pope's Head and the Fairfax County Parkway. Altogether, again, wanted to say thank you for all of you for listening and thinking through all of the major infrastructure projects. We know that all of the work that you have talked about in Northern Virginia impacts not just those whose district it takes place in, but all of us who travel throughout the Commonwealth of Northern Virginia to get to work, to get to our families, to get to school. So thank you again, and I will turn it over to the public whose comments are more important than ours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
All right, next on the public queue list, Ann Wheeler, if you would like to address the meeting, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Ann Wheeler, and I'm chair of the Prince William County Board of Supervisors. Prince William County really appreciates the opportunity to provide comments on the FY 2022-2027 six-year improvement program. And thank you for everything you do to keep us moving. Prince William County has been benefited over the last few years, and we really greatly appreciate that. I just want to say that the county strongly supports the staff recommended smart scale allocation, which includes proposed funding for two critical projects in the county. The first of these is the Route 294 and Old Bridge intersection improvements. This is a local transportation priority project that addresses key Commonwealth V-Trans needs. The recommended funding will fully fund the project and enable the county to implement the innovative, cost-effective improvements developed by the VDOT STARS study to improve operations at this location. This project's been adopted into the county comprehensive plan and is a board-approved primary road project priority. The project received additional public input through the STARS program and has strong support from residents. The second of these is the Route 1 Frailey Boulevard widening. The project is in the town of Dumfries and will be administered by the county through an already executed agreement and partnership with Dumfries. Route 1 is a corridor of statewide significance, and the project addresses critical V-Trans needs for congestion mitigation. The county has invested substantially in improvements on Route 1, as noted earlier, very grateful to be at that ribbon cutting, and has continued investment from the region. So widening Route 1 throughout Prince William County is part of the county's comprehensive plan and advances the county's strategic plan objectives for improving local and regional mobility. Last, I just want to say the six-year improvement program also includes some FY 2027 RSTP funding for two county projects as recommended by the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority. The first of these is the Route 123 Old Bridge Road intersection improvements. The second is the Route 123 interchange. Both of these are county priority transportation projects that are being evaluated as part of active STAR studies to improve the operations at the Route 123 and I-95 corridor. The proposed funding would partially fund these projects and would enable the projects to begin the preliminary engineering phase. These projects, will have additional public outreach and input efforts to the STARS program. So, I really appreciate the opportunity to provide comments on the recommended projects as part of the six-year improvement program. And I want to thank you for all you do to support keeping Prince William County moving and growing over the past many years and many years in the future. So glad to be with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Next in the queue, Melissa McMahon, if you would like to address the meeting, try to limit your comments to 3 minutes or so, and you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good evening, members of the Commonwealth Transportation Board. My name is Melissa McMahon, and I'm the chair of the Alexandria Transportation Commission. In Alexandria, the Transportation Commission endorses grant applications for City Council to ensure consistency with the city's transportation master plan. That master plan supports multimodal transportation and integrated transportation and land use planning. I'm pleased to be with you tonight. Thanks so much for this opportunity. The six-year improvement program is essential in ensuring that the transportation investments made both statewide and within this region efficiently move people and goods and improve safety. On behalf of the Alexandria Transportation Commission, I'm here to express our support of the proposed draft program and urge adoption by the board. I would like to highlight a few of our projects and why they are so important to both the city and the region. First, improvements on Route 1 at East Glebe Road. They were recommended in several of the city's corridor plans that make up the city's comprehensive plan, including the North Potomac Yard Small Area Plan, the Oakville Triangle Plan, and the Route 1 Corridor Plan. It will support new development at both the new NoVA Healthplex Medical Complex, planned to be constructed in Oakville Triangle by 2023, and 2 million square feet of new development currently being constructed in Potomac Yard and National Landing, including the Virginia Tech Innovation Campus and Amazon. This project will improve the safety and efficiency of all users traveling through the intersection, including bus rapid transit, pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers. The project maximizes the use of state funds by leveraging funding from the Oakville Triangle development and will ensure construction efficiencies through coordination with the Route 1 Metroway extension project between East Glebe Road and Evans Lane. Next, Route 1 South improvements were recommended in the Route 1 South, South Patrick Street housing affordability strategy, and it supports an increase in affordable housing that the city is planning along that portion of Route 1. The project addresses existing safety and accessibility issues along this high crash corridor and supports that planned growth. Next, our landmark transit center would serve local transit as well as two transitways, the Duke Street Transitway and the West End Transitway, to provide a seamless connection between transit routes at a new 51-acre development of important regional significance. The project will enhance multimodal connections to transit, improve connectivity, and reduce transit times. We'd also like to express support for Arlington's Smart Scale submission for Mount Vernon Trail North enhancements from Roosevelt Island to Tidelock Park, which would make much needed upgrades and capacity enhancements to the trail to accommodate growing demand for bicycling and walking along the regionally important trail connection. All these projects have potential to take cars off local and regional arterials and interstates and get people where they need to go. Again, I'd like to thank the board for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the city, and we look forward to working with you and all of the regional partners in the future.
Thank you for being here.
All right. Next on our public queue, Jason Stanford, if you would like to address the meeting, you have the floor to speak now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hello, Jason Stanford. Welcome.
Hi, Secretary Valentine. Thank you for the opportunity to comment today on the Commonwealth Secure Improvement Program. I would like to spend most of my time today just addressing Smart Scale Round 4. Thank you to Secretary Valentine and TTB members Hines and Casfords for working with myself and the Northern Virginia Transportation Alliance after Round 3.
I would like to speak if possible.
Sorry, what?
Hey, welcome, caller. So we are setting up a queue to take callers as they join. We have you in the queue here at the 703 area code with the ending in 80. I've got you queued up. And if you'll let our previous commenter continue, then we'll get to you when we reach that point in the queue list.
Very good. How long is
Hey, Justin, how many callers do we have ahead of that gentleman? Well, I'm not sure Justin can hear me. Jason, can you hear me?
I've got you. The caller that just joined, there's 3 in front of them, and then that one.
Okay, so we will let you know. He'll identify you by your phone number. So in case you didn't sign up. So welcome, and then Jason, go ahead and proceed.
Thank you. Again, Jason Stanford with the Northern Virginia Transportation Alliance. As I was saying before, thank you again, Secretary Valentine and the CT members for working with us for Round 3 to improve the Smart Scale process. I do think that we help move things in a good direction there. But I do think some of the same concerns that the Alliance brought forward last year or 2 years ago continue to be an issue. I appreciate Alexandria City's willingness to forego funding for the Upper King Street improvements and CTB member Hines' intentions to fund the Braddock Road multimodal improvements in Fairfax County. I do think it is important to note that if it weren't for the generosity of Alexandria City, no Fairfax or Loudoun County projects would have qualified for funding in the initial scoring process. I don't think this is an intentional bias in the scoring system, but I do think that the way that we're scoring these projects is contributing to this problem. I would take, for example, the Route 1 at East Glebe project and was mentioned in Alexandria City. This project produced little to no benefit outside of the land use scoring category and really the land use that surrounded the project. Comparing that to, say, the Soapstone Connector project in Fairfax County, which is a multimodal project near 2 Silver Line metro stops. Despite the project's proximity to Metro and the inclusion of major bike and pedestrian improvements, this project received a significantly smaller land use score. As illustrated by this example, the Alliance is concerned that we are sort of rewarding for past land use decisions rather than supporting transportation improvements that promote better land use decisions in the future. Land use is an important part of transportation and should absolutely be considered, but I want to make sure that we're doing it in the way that isn't penalizing people for past decisions, but promoting them to be better ones in the future. In addition, the large costs of many very impactful projects continues to be a problem. For example, we looked at the Route 28 safety and operations improvements. That was a STARS study program that worked to looked at reducing costs and improving Route 28 in Prince William County. But still, the cost of that program, also those improvements ultimately, kept it from getting a higher score. I hope that we can continue to work together to improve this process. I think there's a lot of really good projects moving forward, and appreciate the CTB and the Commonwealth for doing those. And look forward to working with you in this process. I also appreciate the Commonwealth's recognition that congestion will return on I-66 inside the Beltway, and your efforts to use the funding generated from that to fund the Long Bridge project, which is an important project for our region. So thank you again for the opportunity to comment, and appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks for being here and for your comments as always. Okay, Dustin.
All right. Thank you for your patience. Moving along, Stuart Shorts, if you'd like to address the meeting, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair and members of the CTB and Northern Virginia officials in general. I'm Stuart Schwartz, Executive Director of the Coalition for Smarter Growth, and I'm going to focus on the big picture tonight. We'll submit more detailed comments by the deadline. First, thank you for your leadership in supporting transit in Virginia, including funding reduced fare and free fare initiatives for bus service. Transit is now receiving more funding than it has in the past. However, we believe it should receive far more, as much as 50% of future state transportation funding, in order to support economic opportunity and equity, more efficient land use and state competitiveness, and fight climate change. Second, thank you for your great leadership on Virginia Intercity Rail. You are national leaders in this, and I need not say more than that at this point. Third, thank you for your adoption and implementation of Smart Scale, which in general is resulting in more effective projects and spending. And I do have to say we disagree often with the Northern Virginia Transportation Alliance, as we do here, that the focus on congestion reduction that they've insisted on for years has done great damage to our planning in Northern Virginia. And what we do need to do, I'll tell you in just a second. We do urge you to do more in light of the existential threat of climate change. We'll be heavily impacted by sea level rise with impact on Hampton roads and our naval facilities. We'll be faced with more flooding events, washed out roads and transit facilities, and longer droughts and significant heat events. This means you must scale back the extensive road expansion and state plans. New and wider roads in metro areas fill up in as few as 5 years and fuel more auto-dependent development, more VMT, or vehicle miles traveled, more greenhouse gas emissions. Congestion relief is not possible in metro areas. In addition, electric vehicles will not be enough. We need to reduce VMT by at least 20% statewide, and because rural residents have fewer options and must drive more, our metro areas need to reduce VMT even more. We know how to do this by focusing development in our cities and towns, creating transit-oriented communities in our suburbs. This must be combined with transit dollars, local street networks, and bike walk investments. And it needs pricing solutions like parking pricing, employer transit benefits, and zero transit fares. I will mention two quick items. 495 next, we've written to you urging delay in this action because of the failure to study a transit-oriented communities /transit/demand management alternative. We're concerned that the P3 process continues to override alternatives analysis, and as it is, the proposal provides far too little funding for transit and extends a provision limiting transit and HOV to 24% of HOT traffic, after which taxpayers must pay fees to Transurban. For state of good repair, I think we saw that some capacity expansion is found in some of those projects, and we don't believe those should be accounted under state of good repair, at least the capacity expansion part of it. Route 1 is an example where we're concerned that the focus on widening the entire length to 6 lanes is creating too great a barrier and making the road more dangerous for pedestrians, cyclists, and transit riders, and undermining planned transit-oriented development in the corridor. Thank you.
Mr. Schwartz, that was very efficient. Thank you.
All right, next in the queue, Douglas Stewart, if you would like to address the meeting, you have the floor to speak.
Good evening. My name is Douglas Stewart. I'm speaking for the Virginia Sierra Club. We support cleaner transportation options that reduce greenhouse gas emissions, improve air quality, and give people more choices in how they travel. If we expand transportation choices so that residents can as easily take a bus, walk, and bicycle, as well as drive, we will relieve the pressure on our roads and reduce pollution. Virginia has limited funds to address our transportation needs. Smart Scale recognizes that we need to focus these funds on the most cost-effective improvements. Often we get the biggest bang for the buck from smaller scale projects, such as bike and pedestrian connections to transit and activity centers, and creating more compact connected street grids. The Smart Scale funding recommendations for fiscal years 2022 to 27 in Northern Virginia support a more effective transportation network, serving all modes of travel and more compact, efficient land use. We strongly support full funding for the following projects. In Alexandria, the landmark Mall Transit Center, Route 1 South Median Refuge Island, and Route 1 at East Glebe Road intersection improvements. In Arlington, Mount Vernon Trail North enhancements. In Falls Church, South Washington Bus Stop expansion. And in the city of Fairfax, the Country Club Commons Connector Trail and Chainbridge Road sidewalk and bus improvements. The combined cost for these 7 projects is far less than the typical cost of a single new interchange, and they will have much more of an impact in moving people, improving safety and public health, and encouraging smart growth, while also reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And we were also going to support the Upper King Street multimodal reconstruction, but since that's been withdrawn, we do support the Braddock Road multimodal improvements for funding. That project has gone through several iterations, and it's gotten a lot of public input and a lot of improvements in the process to make it a truly multimodal project. We're pleased to see that that's being recommended to get above the cut. So thank you for hearing my comments, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Really appreciate it.
All right, we did have a caller dial in while we were going through the comments. The area code of 703 ending in 80. If you'd like to address the meeting, try to keep your comments limited to 3 minutes or so. And if you'd like to address, you have the floor. It is *6 to unmute, and feel free to address.
You may need to *6.
I can confirm our caller who had joined earlier is you're still muted. If you'd like to address, the time to do so is now, and that is *6 to unmute.
Well, Justin, do we have anybody else in queue?
I do not, no ma'am.
Okay, well, maybe we could reach out to this person, and they can certainly provide their comments online, or really anyway, if they have certain things they'd like to communicate to us.
Sure. I'll keep the call bridge open while our meeting continues, and try to get contact information.
Okay, well, thank you, Kim Pryor, for that last slide. I will tell you that during the past 3.5 years, during Governor Northam's administration, we have also been trying to put an emphasis on environmental stewardship, which includes many things, but certainly the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, resiliency, and really looking at the impact of climate change on transportation, as well as the impact of transportation on climate change. Part of that is an anti-litter campaign that we have launched. Virginia's for Lovers Not Litter. And there is a website, loversnotlitter.org, that literally takes less than 10 seconds to sign your name and take a pledge. For all of us in Virginia, you know, we live in the most beautiful state in the United States. And part of, I believe, each of our responsibility is to keep our roadways clean, not only to keep them beautiful, but to keep them safe and to promote economic development and sustainability. So I ask you to do that as we take on a number of projects and initiatives. If you will join with us and take that pledge and help us to be smart here in Virginia. With that, unless anyone else has any comments.
Secretary Valentine,
Yes.
we have another caller.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Justin.
Hello.
Hey there.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, it's Shannon Valentine. Welcome to the public meeting.
My name is Peter. So may I go ahead?
Yes, you may.
Okay. My name is Peter Whalen. I'm the transportation chair for the South County Federation, established to represent the interests of the residents of southeastern Fairfax County. I would like to announce a meeting May 11th, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Catherine Youngblood of DPRT is the manager of the Franconia to Occoquan segment. She will be giving a video slide presentation to the South County Federation on the Long Bridge project and the impact to southeastern Fairfax County, particularly the segment, again, Franconia to Occoquan. There are plans to replace 2 existing bridges, one over Route 1, Richmond Highway, and the other over Newington Road. If you'd like additional information, you can go to southcountyfederation.org, or you can email peter@look.net. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whalen. Thank you for supporting Transforming Rail in Virginia, where, you know, over the next 10 years, we will have nearly hourly service, Amtrak service between Richmond and Washington, a 60% increase in VRE service along the 95 corridor, and expanded service across Virginia. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Justin.
All right. Thank you.
Is that it?
It is. That's the entirety of the public caller queue.
Okay. Well, I just thank everyone again who was willing to join us for a virtual meeting. Kim Pryor, anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you, everybody. Thank you for being with us tonight. Have a good night. Be safe. Bye-bye.